everyone, please, I know you've heard this already today, please come on down. Feel free to sit in front as we get started. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for being here today. We're here to discuss the South Florida market, which, as we all know, saw an unprecedented boom post-pandemic that supercharged the market and spawned some superstar broker careers. And here to discuss that today are three of those superstar brokers from markets across South Florida. So here to discuss is Palm Beach top broker Margit Brandt of Premier Estates, top Miami Beach broker Danny Hertzberg, with Coldwell Banker's Jill Zader team, and then Don McKenna of the Don McKenna Group of also Coldwell Banker. Yep, that's appropriate. Okay, so I want to start with arguably the larger market's newest arrival, Margit. You are a born and raised New Yorker who decamped for South Florida, and you got your license in 2019, which, looking back from where we're standing now, is pretty fortunate timing. Can you walk us through, though, kind of getting settled in this market and how you kind of cracked this insular bubble that is Palm Beach? How did that kind of take off with the market's activity?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. So I've been working in real estate for 16 years. I'm 37 years old. I started when I was 21, when I was like too young for anyone to really take my advice in real estate. I probably wouldn't take my own advice, but now luckily I'm at the age where people listen. I started in New York, so I'm a born and raised New Yorker, and I kind of had this amazing warm-up in New York. So even though I was licensed here in 2019, I had the best practice ever. We started a business in New York that basically was relocating executives from all over the world to New York City. So it was the same skill set, but just we're doing it now at much bigger numbers and much bigger price points, but it's the exact same skill set. So to answer your question, I had the best warm-up ever. My family and I moved to Palm Beach. On a personal level, I married someone from Palm Beach. He wanted to move home. It was essentially him moving home. And we used that skill set to kind of break into the market. So it was a grind. It was hard. But I think success begets success. And what separates the good brokers from the great brokers is that when you first it's one of those first deals that you get under your belt. So I remember it wasn't the largest price point we've ever done, but one of our first big ones was 259 Pendleton. It was like a new build on the Breakers Golf Course. And we sold it twice, like the first time for 17.5, the second time for 21, and it was just a few months later. And being able to close those first deals and then convert the calls that come after that is sort of what sets you up for success. And I was good at that conversion. And then obviously when you get some big deals under your belt, I mean, we sold Tarpon Island, which was like the largest sale on the East Coast in 2024. And now we're doing 30% of the Palm Beach waterfront. So I think getting one deal after the other, and my dad used to say, things in motion stay in motion. And that's sort of what it is. It's like a propeller that you just have to keep going.
Okay, great. Kind of staying on the theme of sinking your teeth into the market. Danny, you're born and bred Miamian. You entered the business in 2009 officially, kind of following your mom's impressive legacy in Miami Beach. Can you take us back to 2009 and kind of looking ahead, maybe could you have seen these banner prices coming? You know, what was the first glimmer of change that the market could take off in the way we've seen?
Sure. So great to be here, guys. Thank you all for coming, and great to be on the panel, and thank you, Real Deal. So I grew up in real estate. My sister, myself, our mom was a broker as we were kids. I always joke on the way to school, we stopped for a showing on soccer practice on a Saturday. We were at an open house, and literally that was our life. But my dad's an attorney, and I thought I was going a different direction. So in 2005, I started law school at University of Miami, and I was doing a JD MBA, studying law. And 2005, the web was emerging. And my mom and her partner, Jill, had basically like a landing page. They weren't doing SEO, there wasn't email marketing. And I started telling them we should do this, we should do that. And they were like, why don't you just do it? And so that's what happened. In 2005, I started working in the business while I was in law school. And I finished in 2009, and by then I had my license. I was starting to put deals together. I took the bar and got sworn in, but never practiced law. And it was right in the middle of the crash. And Miami and Las Vegas were the two worst markets. How many people were in the market in 2009 in here? A lot of you, yeah. So it was a scary time to be in real estate. And it was foreclosures and short sales. Nobody knew how to do them. So coming out of law school, that's an area I leaned into and started doing a lot of short sales and foreclosures and rentals. And it was a grind. And it was a scary time to go into real estate while everybody was leaving. But all of a sudden, you know, year after year, went from rentals to smaller sales to kept moving up. As the market was growing, my goal each year was, the first year was, you know, average sale price $500,000, $2,000 rental. The next year was $700,000, $3,000 rentals. Then it was the first $1 million deal. And it was growth and progression. And my goal every year was to sell more, to do better, and move up my average price point. And as the market unfolded, Miami made a strong comeback. A lot of that was international buyers coming into our market, which really started moving our market. And then I started seeing the, you know, breaking in, and my sister moved back from New York, and working as a family, we really started focusing heavily in the luxury space. And breaking into that luxury market, everybody has that moment where they break into the next level. And for me, it was somebody I was doing a seasonal rental with. They were looking for like a few $1,000s a month for 3 months. Nobody wanted to work with them. It was a family from Canada. And we kept looking at rentals, and nothing was good enough. And then they said maybe we'd look at something to purchase, and started at $700,000. And then they ended up buying a $7 million home over the course of, you know, 14 months or something. And that was a break. That was the moment of going from rental to sale. And once, you know, it builds confidence. And some of you are new agents in the room, and some of you are seasoned agents, and some of you are developers and attorneys and lenders and all different things. But we all got our start, and we remember where we started and where we got to today. And I think the thing that, you know, the next kind of major big step for me was right before the pandemic, we had an opportunity there was a big buyer that wanted an assemblage, a large parcel in Golden Beach. And there were very few sellers in Golden Beach. These are oceanfront homes. And we had to put together 3 sellers off market and convince them to sell. And as we went down the line of coast, we would get 1 person to sell, the 2 others would be holdouts. We would get 2, the 3rd would be a holdout. And nobody wanted to sell. And it took almost a year and a half to put this deal together, and ended up closing for $93 million, a 3-parcel assemblage. Wow. And got to break my mom's own record, which was $75 million, which she then smashed that record. And we've, you know, done lots of records together since. But that was a huge catapult forward, not just on deal structure and patience and the negotiation with 3 different sellers and 10 different attorneys, but it was a confidence builder. And I think that is the opportunity that, you know, I was blessed to have, and they certainly were the rock stars I'm on this panel with. And many of you in the room will have that moment where you just lean all in and you get lasered focused. And when you do, and you have a team around you that can support you and mentorship, you know, anything can happen. So that's a brief story of where we are and how I landed up here today.
Yeah, I think we heard from developers yesterday too that part of South Florida's kind of changing market is really leaving in the past its roots as a second home market. It's really a primary, now international powerhouse player. But Don, you are based outside of South Florida, but managed to make major waves in a South Florida market, Naples. Can you talk about how you first kind of found your way into that market? And I know you've since established your own team and just getting the hooks in there.
Sure. Okay. So if you get nothing from me, get this. Just go for it. You know, you hear the whole Nike thing, like just do it. You know, I am a housewife selling houses, okay? And I am proud of it because I think it really shot me out of a rocket. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. I have 4 kids that range from 32 down to 24. And I started my career in 2003 working in a very small town called Hinsdale. Does anybody know what that is? Oh, we got some hint aliens. Okay, it's a very small town outside of Chicago. It's 18,000 people. And I wanted to buy a couch. I was an interior designer, and my husband was like, yo, slow your roll. We're not doing this whole house at the same time. I was like, well, if I sell $1 million house, I'll get $25,000 and I can buy this couch. Anyway, I came in with my 4 kids to Coldwell Banker because I was like, gosh, this is 2003. Things are going great, but once they're not, I think people are going to need exposure. So I think I'll just do that. So I went in there, and I kind of shot out of a rocket, and I wound up kind of owning the town that I sell in, to be honest. I think I'm responsible for 82% of all the deal flow in that town. And slowly, you know, what we do as realtors is I feel like we're always trying to like talk and like get people to understand instead of being understood. So I really tried to sharpen my listening skills, and in 2017, it like rang true. I listened for the past 10 years of where people were wanting to go, and I was like, wait a second, I think I have a secret sauce. My kids were graduating from college, and their friends were like, oh, Mrs. McKenna, can you find me a rental? Oh, Mrs. McKenna, my parents want to buy a 6 flat and rent it out. You know, oh, I want to get into real estate, and I just went for it. So just so you know, from 2003 to 2017, I was just an agent with 2 assistants doing about 150 to 175 million a year. In 2017, I grew the brand because I listened. I had a house in Naples, Florida, and everyone was like, why are you going to Naples, Florida? Everyone's looking for a hedge, especially now, people. We won't even get in. That's a topic for a different conversation, but it's about the hedge. So what I did was I took what I knew, I scaled it to the city of Chicago, to Chicago's North Shore, to the lake towns that feed into Chicago, Harbor Country, Michigan, Indiana, and Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Then I went to Naples, Florida, and I recently went to Park City, Utah, because that's where a lot of Midwesterners go. And I think if you can think about this logically, you need to cast the widest net. It is the people that are actually putting people on the plane to get them to come to your destination. That's way more important than sitting there, put a sign in and hoping the hell they come. So that's kind of what my thesis was, to like, what can I do that others can't? And I created a huge competitive advantage. I have a team of 30 agents among 7 different markets that are killing it. I think we're almost at 800 million in sales this year, which I'm very proud of. But as far as Southwest Florida, I just want to say something. I am up here with ballers, okay? I've known Danny forever, and I'm going to get to know you. You know, we have a lot of deal flow between, you know, when COVID hit, everyone was like, maybe I'll go to Palm Beach, maybe I'll go to Miami, maybe I'll go to Naples, Johns Island. They were floating all around, and we were all giving each other referrals. I just want to say that, like, I am so proud that the Naples that I started in 2017 is on par with them. We are at around hovering $4,500 a square foot for big time places. We had the most expensive home sale, which wasn't a home sale, it was actually a land play, for $225 million this year. It was the most expensive sale in America, in Naples. We've got Rosewood, we've got the Four Seasons, and I just launched the Dawn McKenna Group new development this year with $1.9 billion under management. So I think that like Naples is really like coming out and popping off. So I just want to give Naples a big, huge shout out because we are competing.
Yes, I love it.
On that point, I'll actually follow up. You have you made headlines last February, with a nearly $300 million listing. Excuse me. And there's been an adjustment there to reflect part of the land not being part of the deal anymore. So, but still north of $200 million. Can you talk a little bit about that? How that kind of came to be, and any updates there?
Well, you know, I didn't even talk about that. I have the listing for the $295 million listing. We're off market right now, making some adjustments. But it's kind of interesting because you speak on assemblages, and you have to be pretty creative when it comes to this stuff, you guys. And so it is going to be a lot easier to kind of carve out these things, and maybe you have a buyer for 25 million and you have a buyer for 40 and you have a buyer for 195 million. Everybody and their brother wants one buyer for 295 million. But if you really do like the metrics and you really financial model like the billionaire plus market, there's probably 152 people, I've done it, that can afford that big, huge hook. So I'm hoping that you will see it offered in a different way this year. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm curious about what kind of interest you're getting so far. Is it domestic or within Florida, or could it be a disillusioned New York billionaire responding to the
so
macro?
I will tell you, we've had 26 showings. 22 of them have been through the Dawn McKenna group, which is kind of interesting. I would say it's a cornucopia of people. I think now more than ever with people, again, we need to look at the landscape politically and financially. And people are looking for a hedge more than they've ever done before. And they really are trying to fight their way to try to find, like, is there enough meat on the bone? And I think we've proved that this year. The $225 million sale, I have a huge NDA on, but I will just say they are not Americans.
Okay.
How about that? Okay? So what I would say is when you look at the landscape, not just in America, but look at the news, travel. I just got back from Italy and France. Italy is very exploding. People don't realize it. There's no MLS there. There's very different things. London, there's a lot of people looking to say, hey, I'm not sure what's going on there, but they look like they have their shiz together. I think I'm going to put some money there. So it's our responsibility to get in front of these people before they make their decision.
Margit, do you want to talk a little bit about how your maybe strategy changed, going off the point of different clientele, developing interest, how your kind of strategy changed in the last 5 years as the market climbed?
Sure. I think our strategy is, we've been called the best marketers in Palm Beach. We've tried everything. I think with COVID, a lot of us, I think a lot of agents got spoiled that you just throw it up on MLS and that it sells, and that it's not. There's so much, as these two rock stars know, that happened behind the scenes. So we, 2020, 2021, 2022, it seemed like everything was flying off. But in 2023 and 2024, that's when you really had to dig in and grind. And so we've done everything. We're really investing in marketing. We're investing in ourselves. We're investing in the brand. And we really, there's not one marketing venture that I can think of that was a total miss, right? You have to throw a bunch of darts on the board and see what works. And we've dug into markets where, like we said, there's a lot of inter-Florida moves. For us, you probably have a lot of Chicago, and Miami's it's a lot of New York for us. It's a lot of New York. But we also, Palm Beach is on the world map now, and we have people coming internationally from all over the place. And that's a new thing that is I've seen in the last few years. So I'd say investing in our marketing. We've really invested in ourselves.
What are the client interests or priorities that's sustaining this market? I think in the wake of the pandemic, it was clear people just wanted more space and Florida was an attractive option. But what's holding that interest now that you're seeing, and actually for all of you?
Sure. Do you want me to start? I think for Palm Beach is a small town with big people, and it's very sophisticated, and it's very safe and very clean. So I think what's drawn people to Palm Beach in a more year-round setting, and it may not be 12 months, but we have a lot of people that it's 8 or 9 months. It's most of the year. You might travel in the summer, but you're on a school schedule. You're here June and September. And we just have so many people who, have gotten involved in the community. They're bringing their businesses here. They're bringing their philanthropy here. Right. There's Class A office space now in West Palm Beach, and Steve Ross has just been totally legendary in rebuilding West Palm Beach. It's almost like a mini Miami now. And so now we have the office space to support. So if you're a principal at a major financial institution and you want to come down, you want to bring your top 10 deputies, we now have the space for it. So that's kind of changed, and that Palm Beach has become more year-round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Danny?
Sure. I think the Miami market and Florida overall, the top driver for luxury market where we all focus is taxes. The tax benefit is tremendous. It drives ultra-high net worth individuals to consider Florida, Miami, et cetera. But right after that, or in hand with that, is safety. And many of our clients that we relocated from California, from Chicago, from New York, it's been concerns about safety, and they want to be able to wear the watch they want to wear, they want to be able to drive the car they want to wear or drive, and they want to be able to live the lifestyle they want to live without having to worry about security concerns. And you throw a pro-business environment here with a growing finance scene, private equity, tech emerging, and it's just a very strong combination. And the pandemic, as we all experienced, was jet fuel on top of something that was already happening. And once people realized they could work from anywhere, this is a very favorable climate. So, safe, no taxes, and actually, like, the weather is a big driver for a lot of people. They like the lifestyle that it offers, that year-round you're boating and you're outside. And then the city, what's happening is Miami has been elevated in a major way as an international destination. So arts, cultural, the opportunities here. And right now it's a domestic-driven market. We're 80, 90% domestic. But I think if we look forward in the coming years, you're going to see even the international market emerge even more, which we're already seeing UK, and we're seeing more Canadian buyers, and again, more South and Central American buyers. But that's the climate overall, and they're very strong dynamics where, you hear a lot of people who are skeptical. Some of our friends and colleagues in California or New York feel like, this is a temporary boom for Florida, for Palm Beach, for Naples, or Miami. And my counter, which I truly believe is, listen, these people lifted up their lives. They put their kids in schools here. They relocated their offices here. They joined the country clubs here. It feels pretty permanent. And it seems that momentum will keep growing, particularly, we just had a major election in New York. There are even more people considering moving after that. They were certainly before. So I think depending on how policies unfold and how the climate is in New York, you'll see people moving. But I'll give you an example. The night of the New York primary at 10 o'clock at night, I received a phone call from a client, a New Yorker, and he said, I can't believe the outcome of the primary. I have a deposit on a $10 million condo in New York. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to cancel my deposit. I'll be in Miami in 2 days, and he bought and closed immediately within weeks on a $10 million property in Miami.
Yeah.
So that was an exact example of somebody the night of the primary making a decision, canceling a deal in New York the next morning on a new development condo and purchasing here in Miami. Now, that's one example. It's too early to tell. We all received a lot of calls yesterday. Most of the calls I got were people venting. It wasn't action items, but the changeover hasn't happened yet. January is when he takes office. We'll see what the policies are. We'll see how crime and safety are impacted. We'll see if, some of these radical policies actually happen, how it impacts New York. And again, I go back to crime and safety and taxes. And those are two big drivers. And there's a huge market in New York and Miami, New York and Naples, and New York and Palm Beach. They're three very correlated markets. So like some New Yorkers may stay, but some may leave to Connecticut or New Jersey or Texas. But if I was betting, I would say the majority end up in South Florida.
Yeah.
I agree. I think also, like for us in Naples, it's like scarcity, rarity, convenience. There's a private airport right there. There's, a public airport like 20 minutes. Naples is small. It's only 20,000 people in terms of like how big of an impact it's made in America. People don't know that. But I also think from an estate planning standpoint, people talk about taxes, but from an estate, like a generational, let's save money and give back, you'd be surprised. Talk to your accountants, talk to your financial planners, have them go through it with you so you can have like an intelligent conversation, because those are big things too. Plus we get sunsets, just saying. But I think I agree with you. And this is interesting. I got a call literally the hour after the mayor was elected by somebody from New York that had bought a $40 million condo from me over the phone. I've never met him. He has never been to Naples. He's got a satellite business in Palm Beach. He was doing a hedge because he was like, I don't know if Palm Beach is going to be too busy if I do this, whatever. He is 34 years old. He said, guess what? I hope you and your team are there the week after Thanksgiving. I'm coming and I'm bringing 4 of my partners.
Love it.
Great. So it's just kind of an interesting, remember, like, we can be there, like, there's like a bunch of footballs being thrown. You got to kind of have some strategy, but also just hustle to catch those, because I feel like people right now want hope. They do. They still want to dream. They want hope.
Yeah.
Margit, as a migrated New Yorker, do you feel like you're specially placed to take this rush of inquiries that some people say we're expecting?
I mean, we've definitely experienced a rush of inquiries. I think the inquiries, I don't know about you guys, but started this summer because there was a lot of anxiety leading up to this election. There was a lot of worry after that primary in June. And now that there's election certainty, anytime there's an election, once there's election certainty, the market kind of jumps from there. So it's not rocket science. Like 1% of New Yorkers pay 40% of the taxes, and that 1% is normally who is most capable and interested in coming to Palm Beach, right? So those taxpayers, those high taxpayers in New York, if their quality of life is deteriorating in New York, and they feel like safety is declining in New York, their first place they look, I think, too, is South Florida. It could be Connecticut, it could be Nashville, it could be Texas, some other places. But there's most certainly been an increase in calls. Also, the sellers are acutely aware. I mean, I had a lot of sellers be like, he won, we're increasing the price 20%. I mean, the sellers are definitely aware of this. So we'll see how it all pans out. I think this may be something that trickles over many months or up to a year or more. COVID was overnight. This may be more of a slow boil as quality of life deteriorates, sadly, in New York.
I think around this time last year, of course, you were using the term Trump bump a lot for Palm Beach specifically. Do you think you could see something similar or even comparable to that?
I think so. I mean, we coined the Trump bump because we just had a lot of the listings in the estate section. And last year, before the election, I think 6 of those listings sat for a year or more. And there actually wasn't movement in the estate section. And immediately after Trump won, all 6 of them went within like 30 or 60 days. Like whether it was people close to the administration or people that just wanted to be in Palm Beach. I think this absolutely could, what do we call it, a Mamdani bump? Like a Mamdani bump. But
it does not have the same.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But I think we will, especially because Palm Beach specifically is so linked to New York City. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Some people will stay, but I think time will tell. As Danny said, in January, once he gets into office and we see how his policies actually affect people. Although I'm talking to friends in New York that are saying they're still seeing contracts signed. So I don't know if that's like international buyers coming in or it's investors. It could be like investors that are like buying no matter what. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that scenario Danny outlined where like they pull from that and invest here. That's probably what we'll see more of.
Yeah, I would caveat that we're still firmly in the election hype category of discussions, and the data is going to bear out. New York has stayed busy, as we've seen. We only have a few minutes left, but I have 2 Coldwell Banker-owned brokers on stage, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the Compass deal for Anywhere that could create a mega umbrella of brands. I'm curious what you've heard from leadership, what your kind of teams are looking out for. We're a year away from the deal closing, of course, but what are you thinking about, in terms of brand confusion? I think that's been a big talking point. Are there any concerns on your end for that?
Sure, I'll start. I'm super excited about it, to be honest, because I think we're better together, and a company like Compass that is spending that kind of money, obviously it's public record that we had a lot of debt that they're taking on. So I think it's going to be a huge wave. To be honest, as I understand it, each brokerage under their watch will be running in their silo, which is really good for people like Danny and I, because we've been friends together. I remember when he started, I'm like, thank God, a young gun. I turned 57 today. He's like freaking 30, but whatever. Anyway, I think we're better together, and I've always been one of these people that like. Brand agnostic. Like, I'm really into the people. Like, I want to earn your business. I wouldn't want Danny just to give it to me because I'm a Coldwell Banker. I want Danny to feel that I am the best person to execute for his clients. So I actually think the Compass brand having, picked up everything. I mean, 340,000 brokers? I'll take those referrals. I'm excited. I don't know. We didn't talk about this.
We haven't talked about it. No, I think Dawn has great points. I mean, for us, my thinking is we were already under Anywhere, which was a parent company to Corcoran, Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, and a bunch of other real estate companies and financial services. So used to being under a parent company, it's not that big of a shift in that way. I think the synergy is huge because you have a legacy brand like Coldwell Banker with more agents than any company around the world that's been, in business since the 1920s. And then you have a relatively new company with a great tech platform, an internal private network, all these elements, and you merge them together. And the point that Dawn made about growing the network of potential referrals and relationships you can build in different cities and different countries, I think there's a huge value add for people under that large umbrella. And it takes scale. The market climate overall, we're all in Florida and we're blessed here, but the rest of the country is facing a very difficult housing market nationwide and globally. And so this consolidation, I think, we'll continue to see. And whether it's, a merger or acquisition or whatever it's going to be, sometimes, those economies of scale really matter in this kind of climate. And so it hasn't happened yet in that, it's not finalized. We haven't seen any changes, but it's something interesting we're keeping an eye on. But as most agents, we're focused on our buyers, our sellers, our deals. And, it's interesting to follow and see the headlines and see what comes of it. But we're optimistic as well.
Can I just add something? I would say the most important thing you can do is focus on your brand and your competitive advantage, because I think now more than ever with all this consolidation, your brand is everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Margit, anything to add?
I mean, I'm happy for you guys. You probably get more referrals, but I just think that real estate is a people business. People work with who they like. They hire you for their listing because they like you and they trust you to execute on their behalf. I am personally of the belief the brokerage you're with, it's not a determining factor. I'm a people person. If I like you, we will send referrals. If you like me back, it has to be a mutual thing. So I think it's a people business, and I think it'll help you guys with referrals, but I don't think it affects the market that much overall.
Yeah. I do think we hear the most about brands from leadership during earnings season on the ground. I know it's different. Okay, in our last minutes here, as you mentioned, you're very blessed to be in South Florida. It's a busy market. I hear deals are closing. Any big deals or anything coming on the horizon you'd like to tease before we leave the stage?
I could kick something off. So we timed it with I would say, to announce it to this group, but also we timed it post-election. We launched the property this morning for $115 million, Banyan Ridge and Coconut Grove. It's an assemblage that was put together that's remarkable, waterfront in the heart of Miami and Coconut Grove, and just launched that to the market. So that's an exciting one today. It's up on our social, be launched on the MLS. And I would love to do a deal with one of you or somebody in this audience, and exciting time to take a property like that to the market.
Sure.
I would say we're launching 15 new listings today that we were thinking about going towards Christmas that are really exciting. And also we have 3 new developments in Naples. They're all very different. You won't see them on the MLS. So if you have anybody that's interested in anything regarding boats, beach, pickleball, juice bar, wellness, we've got you covered. So it's kind of an exciting time, actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think for Palm Beach, we put $150 million under contract in October, which was pretty good. In October, we're very seasonal in Palm Beach. So Palm Beach is like November through April. It's probably similar to Naples. We're not necessarily always year-round. So we're seeing a lot of contracts, which we like. In terms of listings, we just put on a major estate in Manalapan. Manalapan's just south of Palm Beach, and you get kind of these ocean to lake spreads, and you get bigger acreage for $134 million. And we have some pretty special properties on the market, and we're putting some more on, as we head towards December, the holidays.
Great. You heard it here first. All right. Thank you. I want to thank our panelists. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Stay put
Thanks
to hear
for having
from
us.
developers surviving the squeeze.